Kunj Bihari Jaya Bhupi Jana Vallabha Jaya Bhupi Jana Vallabha Jaya Bhupi Jana Vallabha Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajadhanandana Yasodanandana Brajadhanandana Yashodanandana Brajadhanandana Yasodanandana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajadhanandana Yashodanandana Brajadhanandana Yamuna Tera Yamuna Tera Yamuna Tera Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Jai Radha Madhava, Radha
Srimad Paramahamsa, Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satya, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Sirabai Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Sri Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, ISKCON BBT, Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki, Hariyam Sankirtan Ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Janita Gold Pimanandi, all that is to be assembled devotees, all that is to be assembled devotees, all that is to be assembled devotees, all that is to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all that is to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandana Shalakaya Daksurandaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Ladita Sri Sakanditam Sya Hai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tata Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hare Vanchakalpatarujasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Suto Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktira Bhavati Naistiti. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, it becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahmasamitam
Puranam Brahmasamitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Jagada Bhagavan
Yishreyasaya Lokasya
Vishesha Lokasya
Dhanyam Swasya Namaha.
Dhanyam Namaha.
This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Sri Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Shri Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Vasasi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Surabhyay Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyay Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyay Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vasaram tvam gundangayate girim Yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. Our neighbors. So we are continuing to read from second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, entitled The Fifth and God Realization. And today we're looking at text number 31. Chandamsi
Chandamsi
Anantasya
Anandasya
Shiro
Shiro
Vinanti
Vinanti
Damstra
Damstra
Yamaha
Yamaha
Sneha
Sneha
Kala
Kala
Vijani
Vijani
Haso
Aso
Janonmada
Jananmada
Kari
Kari
Cha
Cha
Maya
Maya
Duranta
Duranta
Sargo
Sargo
Yad
Yad
Apanga
Apanga
Mokshaha
Mokshaha
Chandam Syanantasya Shiro Vinanti Samstrayama Sneha Kala Tvijani Haso Janonmada Kari Chamaya Duranta Sargo Yadapanga Mokshaha Chandam Syanantasya Shiro Vinanti Namstrayama Sneha Kala Dvijani Haso Janon Mada Karicha Maya Duranta Sargo Yadapanga mokshaha.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Chandam syanantasya shiro grinanti.
Chandam shananasya shiro grinanti.
Tamstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Tamstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Haso janonmada karichamaya.
Haso janonmada karichamaya.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha. Chandam shanantasya shiro grinanti.
Chandam syanantasya shiro grinanti.
Tamstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Tamstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Aso jananmada karichamaya.
Haso janonmada karichamaya.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Chandansya antasya shiro grananti.
Chandam syanantasya shiro
grinanti.
Damstra yamaha sneha kala dvijani.
Tamstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Aso jananmada karichamaya.
Haso janonmada karichamaya.
Duranta sargo yada apanga mokshaha.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Chandam syanantasya shiro grananti.
Chandam syanantasya shiro grinanti.
Damstrayam sneha kala dvijani.
Tamstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Janonmada karichamaya.
Haso janonmada karichamaya.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha.
Chandam Sayanantasya Shiro Brunanti
Chandam syanantasya shiro grinanti.
Damstayama Sneha Kaladvijani
Damstrayama sneha kala dvijani.
Aso Jananmoda Karichamaya
Haso janonmada karichamaya.
Duranta Sargo Yadapanga Moksha
Duranta sargo yadapanga mokshaha. Chandamsi, the Vedic hymns, Anantasya, of the Supreme, Shiraha, the cerebral passage, Grinanti, they say, Damstraha, the jaws of teeth, Yamaha, Yamaraj, the director of sinners, Sneha Kalaha, the art of affection, Dvijani, the set of teeth, Hasaha, smile, Jana Unmada Kari, the most alluring, Cha, also, Maya, illusory energy, Duranta, insurpassable, Sarga, the material creation, Yat Apanga, whose glance, Mokshaha, casting over. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth. And the most alluring, illusory material energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. Kindly repeat after me. They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, God of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth, and the most alluring illusory illusory material energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. Report. According to Vedic assertion, this material creation is the result of the Lord's casting a glance over the material energy, which is described herein as the most alluring illusory energy. The conditioned souls who are allured by such materialism should know that the material temporary creation is simply an imitation of the reality, and that those who are captivated by such alluring glances of the Lord are put under the direction of the controller of sinners called Jamaraj. The Lord smiles affectionately, displaying his teeth. The intelligent person who can grasp these truths about the Lord becomes a soul fully surrendered unto him. Translation again. They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, God of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth. And the most alluring illusory material energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. Very interesting description of the continuing explanation of the Virat Rupa, or the external material manifestation of the Lord. So, those who are conditioned souls, means the majority of living entities in the material world, they become captivated by this illusory energy of the Lord, because it is a very extremely powerful energy. It is a powerful energy because it comes from Krishna. Anything connected with Krishna emanates the different powers, inconceivable energies of the Lord. So even this so-called material energy is sometimes referred to as divine also, because it is coming from Krishna. And the living entity has that liberty, has that choice of simply interacting with this external illusory energy for the purpose of enjoying that energy, for the purpose of exploiting that energy, or the choice is given of seeing that energy as a reflection of the original transcendental spiritual energy, which is emanating from the spiritual world, which is ultimately emanating directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And those who choose, basically out of ignorance, those who choose to attempt to enjoy this external energy of the Lord, they come under the direct supervision of Jamaraj. And all of their activities are recorded actually by Jamaraj. And when the time comes to leave this body, they are escorted by the Yamadutas out of this material world. And it is not a very pleasant experience. As we, when Prabhupada was given the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam describes the hellish planets. And there are pictures. Prabhupada was looking at the book. It mentions about Krishna's smile. Prabhupada was smiling. He was smiling, seeing, appreciating how the devotees had conveyed what happens to the conditioned souls, those who are reluctant, those who refuse to accept that there's a purpose, higher purpose in life, that there is a director, a controller, a supreme controller, those who refuse to surrender. So, in great detail, some 27 different hellish planets are described in the Bhagavatam. So, in one lecture, Prabhupada was explaining those who are fortunate, those who accept to become devotees, and therefore who decide to take shelter of the Daivi Prakriti as opposed to the Mohini Prakriti as described in the Bhagavad Gita. Their accounts, their activities are all kept in record by Krishna. That lecture Prabhupada was telling, Krishna has an accountant. Krishna has his own accountant, and he keeps track of all of the activities of his devotees. And of course, when the time comes for his devotees to leave the world, to leave the material world, he sends his Vishnu Dutas. So we have a choice of either facing the Yamadutas or facing the Vishnu Dutas. So actually, this material world is very attractive, very alluring, because it is a reflection of the original spiritual reality, the original spiritual world. all of the dealings, all of the especially relationships, because ultimately everyone is seeking, uh, is very much in need of um, of relationship, is ultimately in need of love and affection. That is the Prabhupada describes it as the uh, a birthright. It is a birthright of all living entities to love and to be loved, because Krishna uh, uh, is that pure original love. Is that he is referred to as Rasa Samudra. He is an ocean of transcendental mellows, and this material world is reflecting these transcendental mellows called rasa, different uh, 12 different types of rasa that are nicely described by Sri Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, nectar of devotion. And even those material rasas, uh, when one is devoid of spiritual rasa, one will be running after material rasa. Because we cannot live without rasa. We cannot live without taste, isn't it? When somebody is serving food, uh, if the cook has not been attentive, we will understand. If instead of putting sugar, one has put salt in the preparation because it looks like the same thing, no? Both white, then we will reject it. We will, yeah. So rasa is a basic need and necessity for all living entities. And unfortunately, being devoid of uh, spiritual rasa, the conditioned living entity is uh, wandering life after life, birth after birth in this material world in search of the real rasa. But unfortunately, not having proper knowledge, not having proper association, one is running after this false, illusory rasa of the material world, like animals in a desert run after the mirage of water that is there. These are nice descriptions that are given here, um, especially in regards to the Lord's smile. Actually, Krishna, we can recall in the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, um, when Arjuna is displaying his feelings of you could say despair. He's fully confused about his duty and responsibility. He's become very morose, his mind very disturbed, uh, and he is practically in tears, not knowing what to do, and his body becomes to tremble, and he cannot hold his Gandiva bowl, falls to the ground, and he's just telling Krishna, explaining to Krishna, uh, I cannot fight, and he's in that very depressed state of mind. And what does Krishna do? He smiles. He smiles at Arjuna because he understands that temporarily Krishna has become overcome, has been overcome by the material energy. Of course, Krishna has arranged in that way. Um, so, um, so therefore, um, everything is great about Krishna, including his material, this cosmic manifestation. We were reading in the last few days how those who are still not fortunate to have knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they can begin to develop their appreciation for Krishna, even though they don't know Krishna, by appreciation. As a matter of fact, for most people, this is how one can gradually begin to awaken what Prabhupada refers to as essential point for a devotee in spiritual life to develop this mood or mentality of service that Prabhupada often refers to as being very essential and fundamental for a devotee. So initially, those who are still not fortunate to come in contact with that personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, they can, Bhagavatam explains how one can begin to develop this attitude of service. Just like the more we understand how the beauty of this material world and how wonderfully it is functioning, then we begin to develop some respect for the material nature, not in the mood of exploitation, but just becoming very very grateful that such inconceivable powers, such inconceivable energies, such inconceivable arrangements are there in the material world. Even the greatest we have today in the 21st century, both the 20th and the 21st century have seen the largest number of scientists endeavoring to understand the workings of the material energy. And although we have such a large number of very intelligent persons, scientists, to be a scientist, one has to have some amount of good intelligence. Still, there are so many mysteries that remain regarding this material world, this material energy, regarding the creation and the origin of this world. And scientists are still discovering and will continue to discover so many things about the workings of the material world. So this description of this section in the Bhagavatam, actually the title is giving us a clue here. It's called The First Step in God Realization. So for most people, actually the first step in God realization is to begin understanding the wonderful and inconceivable workings of the material nature. We can begin to appreciate the Creator by appreciating His creation, isn't it? So those who are fortunate will appreciate the Lord's creation as opposed to exploiting that creation. Um, and we see this in individuals who are, in that sense, we could say pious, because they just like an ordinary sunset or sunrise, all of the colors that are people. I remember being, where was it, in Indonesia. Uh, in Indonesia, there's one. It's on the island of Java. I forget the name of the place now exactly, but there are some very uh, nice mountains that are there. In Indonesia, they have the one mountain is called Mount Meru. They have a mountain called Mount Arjuna, uh, because there's a very close, intimate connection with the Vedic culture. Govinda Prabhu had come actually to Indonesia at that time, and we had visited one area where early in the morning, people they come at this one particular place, and it's very cold because mountains usually high in the mountain. It's cold, and Bromo, Mount Bromo. He's from Indonesia. Bromo, thank you. Yeah, Mount Bromo, very beautiful place. Gurubai, one of your godbrothers is there. Bromo, Mount Bromo. Um, and I think they have a statue of largest statue of um, Lord Buddha. In Java, there's a huge statue of Lord Buddha. Yeah, I think it's Bromo. Anyways, people, they have to have, like, they have to cover themselves. It's both cold and rainy also sometimes. So, but when it's clear, when it's not raining, there's one particular spot where people they wait like 1 or 2 hours, at least 1 hour, just waiting for the first rays of the sun to come up. And same thing also in Cambodia. Cambodia, the Angkor Wat, that famous Vishnu, largest Vishnu temple in the world, on one particular day of the year, the sun rises and hits the top of the temple. There are five domes, middle one, and then four. And on that one particular day, actually, some of the temples here in India are made in such a way that that the sun rays on a particular, just one day of the year, directly is touching the lotus feet of the Lord. I forget which temple.
Arsavelli, we have.
In,
Arsavelli.
in Andhra.
In Andhra.
Surya temple.
Surya temple.
Okay, you're from Andhra. You know. Surya temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arsavelli Surya Narayana.
So this is only possible by having knowledge of Vastu, Vastu Shastra,
Yes.
where one knows according to some particular date when the sun will be when the sun will rise and the sun rays will touch a particular point like that. So in other words, there are two ways that we can appreciate the Lord by understanding, by beginning to understand. We cannot fully understand the workings and the material energy of the Lord, this cosmic manifestation, and also, so that's on one level. The other level is on the spiritual, on the transcendental level, understanding the workings. The whole realm of the Daivi Prakriti. So as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mogasha Moga Karmano Moga Jnana Vichetasa Rakshasim Asurim Achaiva Mohinim Prakritim Sritaha. Those who take energy, or those who take rather shelter of the external energy, Mohini Prakriti, they will constantly remain bewildered. And all of their attempts will be failure as well. So therefore, Daivi Prakriti, those who are Mahatmanas, Mahatmanas Tamam Partam, Daivim Prakritim Asrita. Vajanti Ananyamanaso, one is always, who is always endeavoring to remember and to think about the Lord, he will be protected by his internal energy. So we have maybe 1 to 2 minutes, if any questions, comments.
Krishna asking to everyone surrender to me, but why people are not ready to surrender to Krishna?
Because they are still captivated by Krishna's external energy, because Krishna's external energy is extremely powerful. And therefore, one has to become very, very determined. And this determination needs to be translated in how serious we take up the process by maintaining a very, very strong sadhana, by associating with devotees, by taking up the various instructions that are given in Shastra, that are given by our acharyas. And ultimately, we must gain the mercy of Krishna, unless we are recommended by Srimati Radharani to request Krishna, let him go, let let him no longer be under the pressures of the external energy. So we are being tested. We're constantly being tested, and somehow we need to pass these different tests. And at one particular point, we will no longer be tested. We'll just completely become situated under Krishna's internal energy. But until then, we are tested, and we can. Krishna does not test in such a way that we fail. We fail because we choose to fail. There's ample instructions, ample resources that are there for devotees. It's just that we are failing in our becoming fully, let's say, more serious or fully surrendered to the process. So it's a question of saranagati, more and more surrender, and then that illusory energy will no longer act upon us. I have to make a quick phone call. Yesterday we were missing some people who were stuck at the gate, so we're closed for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Niti, Jai Sri Prabhupada Ki, Jai Gaura Pimanandi.
Hare Krishna. Swami Maharaj.
Jai.